Check it out, baby dolls. It's time for that juicy, juicy news. How did America's unemployment go? Did Tether print more money? What does the market really think about Bitcoin? What are the odds about how high it's going to go for BTC? I am very curious, and so are you. We're going to find out all of that and more. Bitcoin receives the green emoji today. Bitcoin hitting 109,000. It actually tapped 110,000 American dollars. But in the past 12 to 24 hours, there is one thing we must address. pDAI has reclaimed all the FUD. We did it. We did it. Not backing down now. You check that out. All the way. Gravestone emoji. This thing rallied a whopping, basically a 20x. It has now officially recovered all of the Caddy FUD, Richard Hart FUD, and Maria's glitter pants. I don't know what attributes Maria's glitter underpants is going to get. I have to wait for it to arrive in the mail. But you already know, right? So all of this is extremely important. Because friends, look, I get wet over a 6 or 7x to 1. I get wet over that. They're amazing. All right. pDAI is still 200. It's off the charts. Today, it's 200, by the way. It already ran 20x from the gravestone emoji, which pretty much means if you go to the gravestone emoji, all right, friends, if you go to the gravestone emoji here, it's near a quarter of a cent. This is literally almost, that's a 4,000x. 4,000x. Everything else is secondary, and it's confirming in real time. But we're going to crack on with the news. I'm going to show you what's been going on. This is Bitcoin's monthly chart. Still nice and green. The fourth green month. Obviously, we haven't closed yet, but hopefully joyful July is better than GT June. Altcoins are still tugging along and pooping along and everything out here. This is the daily chart for BTC. This is the daily super trend. We're so close to flipping green on it. Remember, we can have some fake outs. That's very, very possible as well. But also, looking at this whole structure, we are ready, friends. Remember when talking to you the whole time ago, we do skitsy thing, and then we just go bang, all right? A lot of things have been happening. So it's all, coincidentally timed with Donald Trump's big, beautiful banana bill, which they have just signed moments ago, and it has come through amongst many other things. But even before, friends, see all that data, news, and everything out here, it's cool and it's fun and we learn, but like everything is priced into the charts. That's what we're here to look at right now, okay? So we're still waiting for Ethereum. Ethereum is 2,600, waiting for it to tick up higher. Remember, we have the CME gap at 3,200. That's extremely important. We have total crypto industry still at 3.35 trillion. And I hope it goes to 10 trillion. I really think in my loins, in my pointy elbows, and my fluffy slippers, that crypto is worth around 10 trillion. I mean, like, we're putting stocks on the blockchain. We got a StableCoin, SuperCycle, real-world assets, tokenization. This to me doesn't, like, the stock market itself is 150 trillion. Why should we be 3, bro? That's a bit racist to me. You know what I mean? So I reckon we should be, maybe fair value is actually 5. Maybe that's actually fair value, but we don't stop at fair value in a bull market. We price in the future. So maybe we, instead of stopping at 5, we go all the way to 10. If you want to once again look at that, what does a $10 trillion industry look like? I mean, with a Bitcoin dominance of 40%, you have Bitcoin 200K, Ethereum 16K, all the altcoins index does a 10x, so you might get a multiplier on your altcoins. Stablecoins 8x as an industry, they grow from here. So, but they're just guessing. I assume the ratios and stuff out here, which they're very, very hard to assume. Also, there are a lot of real-life normie friends and baby dolls out there, and I know, friends, it's going to be very funny. Just hold back your laughter, but it's true, okay? Guys, Tether is not a coin you buy, okay? So everyone is, I'm starting to get these questions about, hey, should I buy Tether? Why? Because they've gone to the rankings and they've seen that this thing is only $1. All right? So Tether can't go higher than $1. Okay? If you're new to crypto, it is what we call a stable coin. People give US dollars to a company and then they hand them a token called a Tether for $1. and it just sits on the blockchain. You probably wonder, why would anybody own a coin that can't go up? Exactly. But the real reason is because it's a defensive play. It's just having an account, a bank account equivalent that sits there in case they want to buy the dip, in case they want to do something else. Or maybe they just want to send money to each other. You know, instead of going through the banking system, people want to send stuff overseas. That's why they hold this $1 Tether. Okay, it's a stable coin. It's just on the ranking because there's $158 billion market cap committed here. So it's not a true representation of what you want to be involved in. But I guess if everyone's sitting at home or driving along in the car, hello, Mr. Custard out here driving off to work. Yeah, it's true, friends. Like it is funny, friends. Like it's literally, I am getting questions. Should I buy Tether? Because, yeah, it is. The unit bias stuff is really real. Right? They're obviously looking at Bitcoin like, the thing's over $100,000. I'm not touching that. Well, this is the stuff we dream about. Now, let's check out that Bitcoin dominance. Still sky high. Absolutely nothing to report. The Bitcoin dominance, I'll show you more charts with BCB and stock to flow, Plan B next. But Bitcoin dominance is still high. It's going to move, obviously, when Ethereum, the bulk of the altcoins industry, does move itself as well. And now I just want to show you the altcoin USD chart. This is others, USD. You notice how there's 3 red, 1 green, 3 red, 1 green, 3 red, 1 green. Okay, that's the 4-year cycle traditionally. Unfortunately, in our cycle, we got dunked on. So we have started this whole year horrific. Okay, so usually by the end of each cycle, by the end of this year, it's pretty much bang, it finishes. But we've only got, man, we've got 5-6 months left. So I don't know. We're just going to go bang, bang, bang. Is that what's going to happen? And then we come back down. That's always possible. That's very, very possible. But it is also possible where we come out. This is the fake out. Well, like it's a believer cycle. And then we come in later on for a higher valuation for all the altcoins. Remember, that is the others index. Others is outside of the top 10. It's the belly of the risk curve because it removes the biggest stuff. That's what I like to look at. This is the others BTC ratio chart. So now you chart it against Bitcoin. Altcoins, they're about 11% of Bitcoin size. We've had 7 red in a row, bro. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 red in a freaking row. My gosh, man, the pain we have gone through. Unbelievable. Check out the S&P 500. Through the highs, friends, confidently through the highs. This is pretty much all you need to know, okay? So that's why I show you this stuff because this tells you everything you need to know about the news, okay? The news is going to be dressing up things around it, but this is the most important stuff. It all gets priced in. Now, you probably want to know, right? Is the PMI, is the manufacturing PMI, is it started to head up? Well, the Russell 2000 is a nice indicator of where the PMI is going. Okay, so this is obviously, when this went down, we got wrecked. The Russell 2000, the racist Russell, doesn't have a white friend. It's now crawling back up. I mean, it's like literally done a V bottom back up. Almost like the pDAI chart as well. Literally straight V. So here we are right now. We've recovered most of the damage. We've still got quite a while to go. I mean, it's still 8%. I mean, it's gapped up and you're still 8% down from the all-time high. So that Russell 2000, remember, it's US small cap shit coins. And it's a small cap, so that is like an indicator of manufacturing, pretty much. Because like when think about it, okay, when manufacturing is good, I'll show you the PMI index again. When it's really good, everyone's business is pumping, everyone's making extra profits. So what happens is this PMI will go higher. Remember, we got the reading of 49 before, marking 32 months in the poopy zone. Once it goes higher, we feel more optimistic to think about the future. We don't think in like days and weeks and months anymore. We think in years. Okay, but that's the whole fallacy of the whole crowd and their thinking. They start thinking about years only when they feel good, you know? If you want to win in this game, right? If you want to win in this game in investing, when prices are low, like they have been for altcoins for the past 4.5 years, you don't think in days and weeks and months. You think in years because the prices are cheap. Even though every fiber of your being is saying, no, I want to leave, I want to click sell, I want to get out, I want to be a Bitcoin maxi. So that's everything, your whole, everything is telling you to do that. That's what you don't want to do. That's what the crowd does. And we know the crowd is horrible. The crowd prices everything in. The crowd is the efficient market itself. You know, when odds are low, the crowd will give it a low price. When the odds are good, the crowd will give it a high price. A high price, pretty much. So you have no edge there. Your edge is, you know, once again, I'm not going to shy down from it. Your edge is finding asymmetric information possibilities where everybody says something's dead and you find otherwise, you know. And then on the opposite, one day we'll get there who knows, one day this century, there'll be a time where everybody is optimistic for the future. You can't find a pessimist anywhere. You're like, wait a minute. If everybody's optimistic about the future, what that means is all their currency units in their wallets have now been allocated into the market. That's another way of saying everybody is now in, right? So like, it's kind of like, friends, like if you were to measure how many people are in a club and you could chart it, okay, maybe there's a club, there's actual nightclub. Let's say it has 500 people. That's just people, there's this fancy nightclub. They serve orange juice, 5 ice cubes. Everyone wants to be there, yeah? If you were to chart what the club looks like in terms of the number of people entering, okay? So at like, this is obviously the time period. This is time. So this is like, 7 p.m., right? This is 7 and this is like 3 a.m., right? So obviously it starts with like no one in and then it spikes up, right? Right here. So everyone's in the club, right? What do you think is going to happen here? I mean, like you've hit 500 capacity. You're not allowed any more people in the club. So you got to think, right? If you were to bet against the crowd number, you think, okay, well, if the number of people in the nightclub, I think it's going to go down from here. But here's the thing, right? It's very possible. Like, let's say a hen's party has just finished and these girls are sloshed and there's like 30 girls exit off the booze bus, right? So what happens is you might get faked out. You're like, oh, wow, the number of people illegally entering the club is up here. So in this moment, you're like, oh my gosh, I am betting against the club growing in numbers, and now it's growing in numbers. You're like, oh no, this is never going to end. But you know what eventually happens, friends? Eventually, all right, one of the hens, maybe she just starts spewing her guts. She starts spewing her guts. She calls her ex-boyfriend and says, oh my God, I should be marrying you, not the guy I'm actually with. And what happens is everyone just starts leaving the club right now. So that's markets, man. That's literally markets. That's literally markets. They're like, oh no, this girl's been vomiting all over the floor. I'm out of here. And they look at the time. They go, crap, it's 2:30, right? I've got my orange juice appointment meeting tomorrow. I've got breakfast to have tomorrow. So you see what I mean, friends? So that's the chart pattern. Then you might say, oh, that's an amazing chart. Yeah, but the thing is, you're not going to find anybody to give you good odds up here. All right? So if we actually were to make a marketplace like this, no one is going to give you good odds up there. No one's going to say, okay, by 3 a.m., if the number of people is up, you're going to lose a bit of money, but if the number of people goes down to 0 in the club in the next 5 hours, I'm going to give you 5-to-1 odds. No one's going to do that, right? That's the marketplace. So that's why we have to do more research. I use a very, very simple example because we all know intuitively everybody's going home at 2 a.m. So that's why in markets, what we got to look for is clues. We look at clues, friends. We're like, hey, you're not a Pokemon fan. I'm a Pokemon fan. I'm on the poker chain. Right? You're not a Pokemon. You know what I mean? You're looking for clues like Ty Lopez comes in, or there's $1 billion of public ICO money raised, right? Or Coinbase App Store ranking #1. We're looking for signs that the club is full. That's what we're looking for, Back in 2021, Richard Hart, when he was living on top of a sandwich shop in the glory days, he called the top here white. Why did he call the top here? It just looks like red and green candles. It's because he saw Elon Musk, the world's most popular man, now likes Bitcoin and crypto, and it's been 3 months since he's been in, and there's nobody else left to buy, pretty much. He's like, oh, the world's most popular random man who likes it. Who else is left to buy, okay? That's what we're trying to do, friends. That's why also, when something goes really, really down, like I just showed you with pDAI down here, when you have the founder of the chain saying, stupid pDAI, stupid, I don't like you 33 times. That's why the price is so low, because you're like, oh, wow, there's nobody else left to sell now. Every single non-believer who is not in this, I guess, for what you would call the prophecy, they're now out. And that's why you get the price like that. Easier said than done, though, isn't it? But that's why it's worth your time, right? Because, bro, you click a few buttons, wait a few years, and you no longer have to work for the rest of your life. I think it's actually a pretty good deal if you ask me. Now, let's crack on, friends, with where we're going next. What I want to show you, I'm going to show you some blockchain backer stuff. I'm going to show you, I'm going to gently, in a very family-friendly way, gently push, without hurting anybody, just push back on a bit of his ideas, but it's good to see. So this is Bitcoin. Remember, we've been tracking this. Bitcoin, there's the 3 charts of Bitcoin, okay? This is the second and the third one, the middle and the right. These panels is Bitcoin in the past, and this is where we are right now. Remember, we have now gone through the skits part, and now we're in the up-only part, okay? This up-only part. So we're about to do, I guess, this up-only part. Now, remember, they are squiggly lines. something can come left field, you know, but unless it does, you pretty much got to stick with, you know, what's been happening so far. So this is just a normal trend line. It's the same thing, right? So what Bitcoin did before is, right, it's a classical market stuff, right? Zips up, does a retest, and then you're literally off to the races. So here we are literally right now. We might be doing that and then literally ready to go. We're like in the process of forming it right now. That's what it looks like we're doing, okay? So here is another more pronounced chart of that, where you can see how we have these big bubble part, the big elliptical bubble part. That is the up only part, the up only, everyone having fun, jelly beans, you know, pizza, who ordered pepperoni, right? All those types of parties are starting to come out. That's when it begins. We've been waiting on pretty much your whole crypto cycle for this. Now, here is the Bitcoin dominance chart, and see all these horizontal lines. It pretty much just marked every single low that has not been tested yet. And so you can just see how viciously up only the Bitcoin dominance has gone. Remember, it's a daily chart. So usually how these charts end is they have a very violent like that, right? In another way, friends, conceptually, you know all the Bitcoin Treasury guys, you know the Bitcoin Maxi guys, you know they're full of shit. When altcoins start going, these people capitulate, okay? Their voices get drowned out because then they realize, wait a minute, I'm on the slow horse. I'm on the slow horse, bro. Yeah, it's funny that they think all altcoins are scams now, but that's because their prices aren't moving, you know? So you can just deduce from that, they don't actually really believe in Bitcoin. What they actually believe in is number go up, just like everybody else. They are just no different than anybody else, friends. So, but what happens when Bitcoin's ratio number goes down? Okay, well, that's when everybody gets tested. That's why I think we're going to have, everyone thinks it's over, but we're going to actually have a double bubble. That's what I think is going to happen, because I think these, friends, I don't think all these new companies who have come and bought the top of Bitcoin, I don't think they now suddenly get to get a free ride of up only. This never happened in the history of markets. And look at the excessive leverage they're doing, by the way. They're like borrowing off their equity. They're all doing leverage. You know what I mean? Once this thing starts unwinding, you really got to see who's been swimming naked. Now, I've also got another chart here to show you. This is the XRP chart with Bitcoin. And I guess the highlight important, this is why it's important to know this, but it's not gospel, but this is what's happened every single time. Altcoins only move in two specific Bitcoin phases. Number one is Bitcoin expands to a new high, like right here, okay? That's number one. So Bitcoin expansion is when altcoins move, number one. Number two, Bitcoin tops out for the whole cycle, all right? That's another one. So Bitcoin's either expanding or it's topping. Altcoins on average, they don't move. All right. Now, you might be saying, man, that sucks. Yeah, but we didn't know it was going to be like that forever, right? You didn't know that. It's just like you're saying that with hindsight now, right? How long are you going to keep taking that bet for? I mean, look at us. Bitcoin dominance went up in a Bitcoin halving year. Boy, friends, there's going to be a day where like just it unwinds on Bitcoin, people. It's very obvious to me. We know one day everybody's pricing in infinite price growth to Bitcoin. Man, they're going to get sloshed one day. There will be a sloshing where, you know, their bull market takes longer than everyone expects for Bitcoin to reclaim an all-time high or something, right? You just don't know when. Now, in this topping out payout, that's where I guess BCB expects next. Personally, I don't think it comes next. I think we're going to have two ways, but also I've got to check myself because I want it to have two ways. It's a believer cycle, right? It's you, me, and Spoonie against the world, right? We want it to happen. So we have to, like, you know, just be mindful of that as well. So, you know, this expansion phase, we actually saw, so probably thinking as well, but Sami, did Bitcoin expand like already? Yes, friends. Bitcoin, do you remember, already did its expansion to the highs. Look at this at the beginning of 2024. See it charge up to the highs. But then we had the proper rising up at the end of last year. But this is where they get a bit biased because blockchain backer, he says, oh, everything expanded, I win. But that's because you're in XRP, right? So it's like XRP went up, but 99% of coins didn't, right? But what you're probably going to see is this is how markets work, right? I wonder how he and others will change their theory when their coin isn't doing as well as they expect. That's what usually happens. So to put it in another way, here is the XRP chart, right? Here's XRP chart. Let's put on a 2 weekly. So in their mind, friends, I mean, Blockchain Backer said he's getting literally everything out at $8. He's like all out here, okay? But what if, bro, like, what if it doesn't go to 8? What if it stops at 6? And then the next stop is like, now it's at 3. What now? What if XRP is not, you know, $8, $9 in the next 2 months? Look at the difference up here. What if it literally stops here because you're not selling at 6 because you think it's going to 9? You don't sell there, right? When the next stop, bang, it comes back here. What now? You're gonna get out? You're at $3.70. See, what we'll always find is you probably, you know, it's got trip down memory lane for you, is you see a lot of people that they kind of like shift and morph and they just adapt to a new thing, you know, until they get what they want. That's why we're beyond that. We just have to accept, man. If we just see all these euphoria signals, the market price is the market price. That's why I tell you, friends, don't look at each individual coin. Look at your whole portfolio. Yeah, and we have to look at all the euphoria. And you go, whatever your portfolio is, it is what it is. The market's giving you that. You know, yeah, someone else put $1,000 in something and made $1 million. Another guy put in $5 million into something and he only made 500,000. You know what I mean? There's every distribution of that out there. You just have to accept that it is what it is. So we're just preparing for that moment. I also wanted to show you this, friends. So we have Plan B, stock to flow. He has his charts here showing that we've had like a truncated movement so far. But here's the stock to flow. He still thinks we're going to like, you know, 400 or 500K. I don't think so personally. This is the RSI. The RSI is obviously going down over time. He believes this thing's going to hit up here. And I think it's going to like plop down here. All right. Now you probably wonder, hey, they're not much of a difference. Yes, they are. I mean, this is the difference between like a 450K BTC and like around a 200K. You know what I mean? So because they're big monthly charts out here. But you know, when you're a maxi of something, then like, of course, you really, really, really want that thing to go up forever, don't you? Now, as I promised for you, I'm going to play some Pumpy G music. We're going to tell you the odds now. Okay. 60% of people think Bitcoin is going to hit above 200K. 40% of people think it won't. 200K. So I think that's pretty good because it's around 50-50. Okay, that's really good. Okay, I would be nervous. Do you know what the top of when Bitcoin was 64K in April 2021, when Michael Saylor did his poll, I believe his survey was near 83% versus 17%. Right. And then his survey was, should you borrow on your house to go buy more Bitcoin? Should you leverage on your home to buy more Bitcoin? Yeah, it was like 83% was like, yes. I think I made multiple posts on that. It's around 80-20. Once you start to see the 80-20s, you're like, uh-oh. You know what I mean? Right now, we're in the 60-40 zone. Okay. So maybe when Bitcoin is like, hopefully Bitcoin is like 230, and then we check, oh, is Bitcoin hitting 300K? We might get an extreme point when, you know, Coinbase App Store is ranking #1 where people say, oh yeah, there's like an 80% chance we're hitting 300K. You know, it might get something like that. Now, let's crack on with the news, friends. So what's actually happened is Tether Rooney has printed another $1 billion, minted the $1 billion. So got a reminder, the cuckolds who have these $1 billion minted, they are earning 0 yield. And their money can be disabled instantly. Tether have disabled $550 million of money last year. Don't tell you why. No judicial process, no legal proceedings. It is what it is, okay? So you don't have to use Tether, but there's a lot of cucks out there who enjoy sitting in the hotel Cuck-Chair. Pulse Chain and pDAI is the solution. pDAI couldn't go to 0. It went to 0 twice, could go to 0 for a third time. But if the prophecy fulfills itself, it will be an unstable coin that moves towards $1 and then stabilizer ping-pongs, pegs around the dollar. And I guess if Mr. 9iron is right, he says effectively you'll be able to single-side stake your pulse and that will be holding up the peg. So we'll see what goes on here. The US House has designated July 14th to 18th as Crypto Week, which I'm now going to show you, which is very wonderful, but kind of not wonderful if you look what it is. They have the Clarity Act Anti-CBDC, and Genius Stablecoin Act. So it's called Crypto Week because I guess it's good, but all of these are actually horrific. Clarity, I don't even know what it is. It's probably dog shit. Anti-CBDC, it's a lie because Tether is actually CBDC. They are putting in CBDCs. It's just CBDC has such a bad terminology, bad vibe with everybody that they've removed. Oh, we're not going to call it, well, it's not CBDC. It's digital dollar. It's the exact same thing. They can disable your money in 2 seconds. But hey, man, it's the US government. It's the government's currencies. Effectively, they can do what they want. So in crypto, we don't want them to stop. We don't want them to stop. We just say, hey, we're just going to make an alternative. Let's see what the people want. That's what crypto is about. It's not about, you don't have to choose my stuff. Keep doing your thing. Okay? We'll just have something else for people to touch and fondle and gently push back on. Right? You also have, friends, the Genius Act. It's the evil genius, I call it. It's a stablecoin act. It makes handing out stablecoin yield illegal, and it makes your stablecoin company have to register in America. You're basically under a tightrope, and it gives all control to the banks. So I guess, yay, crypto adoption, but there's a fine lining there. Something I want to show you, friends, with blockchain backer, I'll just head it back a bit. So blockchain backer thinks we're going to go up and it's literally all over. See that? He thinks this part's coming next. He goes, we're going up and it's all over and literally all over. Okay. We could get some sort of wick here, whatever. But here's something just interesting. So when you have a theory, it naturally, or humans, what we do is we grab a lot of the pieces and we keep confirming it. Confirmation bias. So what BCB's done is, this is the Dixie, the DXY, right? This is the US dollar, right? This is the DXY. So he's used a fractal of it. But what he's done is, he went to 2021, right? And I was like, scratching my head. I was like, why would you use 2021? He's like, oh, because I guess because it looks like it's the same. And it's like confirming. I'm like, wait. 2021 was a completely different environment. This was 0% rates, okay? And it was a different president. This cycle we have now is exactly like 2017. We have Trump again is in here. So what I'll do is I'll just show you. So this cycle, this is Trump again. So in this cycle we had wildly the same stuff. We had Trump as president. We had tight rates. So yes, back in 2017, the rates were effectively tight because they came off zero and now they're at 1.25%, and the market was pricing in up to 2.5%. It was a tightening inflationary period, just like now, right? You had China weakening and stimulating. So these are three big things that are happening. You know what's even more wild, friends? XRP ran in 2017, okay? XRP. And now XRP has now run early again as well. Very interesting. See what I mean? So there are some similarities with those cycles, but for some reason he's taken last cycle, and it is to confirm the bias that the US dollar is not going much lower. It's going to range down here, and that Bitcoin's going to be able to do the top. Because if you would do the other fractal where US dollar keeps going down all year, it doesn't fit into the world view. So that's why, friends, I'm just gently, in a very family-friendly way, just slightly pushing back on that notion. But really, at the end of the day, I mean, anything can happen, right? It's markets. Now, what's actually come out, friends, is the US House, not only have they done this crypto week, but look at this other news that's appearing, right? The US unemployment rate has dropped to 4.1%, beating expectations. So US non-farm, because of Julie 4, the Independence Day for Americana, they've released the data early. So you look at the left-hand column, right, where the numbers came out. Look at this. They were expecting 4.3, and then they got 4.1% unemployment. Wow. How big is that, man? That's big. So, and then jobs, instead of 111,000, they got 147,000. So this is wild, man. So the unemployment rate has pretty much shown it is a very strong economy. This economy is strong. And I know, yeah, it looks strongest before it goes weakest. I know that. But what do you want us to do, bro? We're not going to jeet our bags after 4 years. So pretty much everything, I guess, is good to go for the next phase. Hopefully it's a big alt season coming. The US House passed President Trump's one big, beautiful bill. There's obviously controversy with it because there's a lot of spending, just like everything else. Screw it, bro. Why do you guys get to spend? Let us spend as well. Let us spend. And maybe AI will make up for it. So there's always this, tiffs and people just having a cry about this stuff. There's big stimulus. There's no net income extra. for this big bill. So Donald Trump did his big bill, but that's why he wants major loser Jerome Powell to cut the rates, because they have to roll over the debt. Yeah, and they've done. There's funny. What they've done is they've done the spending before the rate cut. So they've done the spending anyway. Yeah, so he's like cornering Fed Powell into a corner. He's like, hey, either take down the country if you keep up the rates, or you're gonna have to do some rate cutting. Michael Chad Saylor said, I'm going to be buying the top forever. I believe in the next bear market, they're going to like put him as a meme of that picture. I'm going to be buying the top forever. Like, we're going to have people with those essays. Like, you literally have a man who is bragging about buying the top on leverage. How did you think it was going to end? Like, I can see that in my mind appearing in the next bear market. I like to think about stuff like this just so we know where we are right now. His average price is $71,000. Fun fact as well, friends. So he's bought a total of like 40 billion. But this is the craziest part, friends. He's bought 20 billion worth in this whole 4 years. And then he bought another 20 billion up here. Okay. So just to show you, look at this, how aggressive it's getting. See what I mean? It's gone parabolic. But the next one, he might buy like another 20 billion in like a few weeks. And then it becomes like 50 billion in a month, right? And that's how it just gets the average. His average price won't be 71,000. Maybe at the top it rises above 100 and it starts going parabolic. And then, yes, that's what we'll have to think about the next phase. Arthur Gaze has said US banks adopting stablecoins can provide 6.8 trillion of buying power for the US treasuries. And he sees this as debt monetization dressed in Ethereum drag. And advises to go long Bitcoin. So Ethereum drag, that's funny. So he's taking a pot shot. But he's bullish Ethereum like the rest of us, just because Ethereum is actually the most hated asset right now. But yes, pretty much it's stablecoin SuperCycle confirming. That's why hey, maybe there is a product market fit for pDAI. We'll see. Mara CEO Fred Thiel says there is a huge amount of institutional interest in Bitcoin. There are a number of Bitcoin treasury companies springing up every day. That is just like confirming Bitcoin treasury bubble. Remember, so that's why a lot of people say altcoin season is never going to happen, because everybody's getting their leverage fix by buying Bitcoin treasury companies. I say fat chance, bro. Do you know what Doge is? You know, people who bought Doge in 2021, they skipped Bitcoin, they skipped Ethereum, they skipped Tesla. They skipped a lot of things, man. They just wanted the picture of a dog. So why do you think this time is going to be different? It's just obviously what they're doing is because the PMI is down for so long, everyone's like, oh no, nothing's ever going to happen to altcoins. No, you're positioned for nothing to happen, bro. That doesn't mean nothing's going to happen. Okay, what it actually means is if something does happen, you're going to have FOMO. That's what it means. Financial industry group SOIMA urges SEC to reject requests for exemptive relief allowing crypto tokenization of equities trading. So this, I put a clown emoji. Why? So the financial industry group, obviously they're obviously owned by the CME and stuff. They're all like own each other. You know what I mean? It's basically incestual relationships there. They're so scared of crypto taking their market share away that they're begging the SEC to stop it. That's what they're doing. You know how we have starting to have tokenized trading of shares on crypto, and you can do it 24/7. So they're begging, please, put a pause on it. Put a pause on it. Because why? Because these guys probably want an emergency, go and get some finance deals and stuff out here in the background, so then they can release their stocks to trade 24/7. So friends, this is why I'm telling you, altcoins are going to win, bro. Because altcoins, see, friends, it wasn't Bitcoin infrastructure that got the tokenized shares, bro. It was altcoins. It was the shitcoin degenerates in all of us. We all are a degen deep inside. We made the tech. Yeah? Bitcoin's got no tech, bro. It sits there and does nothing. All you've got is Tether, which is a Trojan horse, dumping a yield which it gains for Ethereum, from Ethereum, by the way. Without Ethereum, there's no Tether, effectively. Right? That's what you're doing, doing a Bitcoin mining thing. No one gives a shit about that, bro. What they care about is gambling, okay? People want to come finance, just joking, okay? Financial services. That's what we want. That's what's coming in. So who pivoted? Did we pivot to the stocks? Or did the stock market, Johnson & Johnson, baby bum powder maxis, did they pivot to crypto? Well, it looks like they're pivoting to crypto because they are begging the SEC to stop our innovation. Please don't let them list stocks. Listen, stock market boomers, you don't know what crypto people are like, you know. We will go make a ticker of your stock name and just put your logo there, and then we'll trade it like it's the real thing. We'll do it in a bull. That's what we'll do in a bull market. We don't care. We don't care. You know it's true. Swiss regulated Amina Bank becomes the first bank globally to support Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin, offering custody and trading to institutional clients. Poop, scam, grift, trash. RLUSD gives you zero yield, and it is literally just Tether. It's basically Ripple being jealous of Tether's money, and they just want to copy them. Okay, you get no advantage. There is literally no reason in the world for you to hold this dog shit currency. Okay, you get 2% yield on Curve Finance if you're in a liquidity pool. Why would you want 2% yield on a dog shit stablecoin when literally pictures of dogs are gonna fly in an Altseason? Okay. So, obviously what they're doing, friends, everyone's just trying to grift just like Tether. They're trying to offer zero yield to customers. They get the government bond yield for themselves and then do whatever. Okay, well, what if there was a man who used to live on top of a sandwich shop who could give you yield and no one can stop you? Probably nothing. Talking about pDAI. Okay, BitMEX becomes the first exchange to accept RLUSD as margin on its derivatives platform. Does anybody still trade on BitMEX? They dropped the ball hard. Used to be the greatest exchange. They invented the perps. Did very, very great stuff. Just, yeah, the systems got too slow. And yeah, whatever. RLUSD, like you literally get nothing. But that's the thing, friends. I guess every chain wants to have its own stablecoin native to keep people in there. But whoever's grabbing the yield of the stable coins, yeah, they have to do something good with the chain. So Ripple basically just pay themselves and stuff, right? But I guess it is what it is. Everyone likes it. See, if pDAI fulfills the destiny, the thing is there's no CEO. So what does everybody do with the yield of the borrowing and lending? I don't know, but it's very possible that since all of us love Pulse Chain, yeah, and we're going to stay on this chain if this thing stays at $1 and we're not going anywhere, we will use this to go and buy the Pulse Chain core coins. Okay? You see how it's self-symbiotic, a symbiotic relationship? No one's done it yet, though. That's why the idea is big. First cycle unicorn. Public gold miner Hamark Limited announces it will add Bitcoin to its corporate treasury. So that's big, right, friends? It's a public gold miner. You know, so all their employees, they got shovels, they go out to the woods, they're just digging for gold, right? Now they're going to buy Bitcoin, which is wonderful because this will help push the meme that Bitcoin's going to flip gold. We say Bitcoin is digital gold. And that's what we want is, remember, gold is like 22 trillion market cap. Bitcoin's only 2. So we want to close that gap. So hopefully Bitcoin gets to 250K. That'll be 5 trillion for Bitcoin. And hopefully gold starts getting rotated into it. And then you have Uncle Peter Schiff is going to be coping about that as well. Tether has partnered with Adecoragro to develop renewable energy-powered Bitcoin mining in Brazil. So Tether is, once again, CBDC trash, blacklist function, gives you no yield. They're just basically doing stuff. It's just so weird, Vince, because it's because Tether have Bitfinex. They've always been Bitcoin maxis, but they make all their money literally from Ethereum. So I think that's been the saddest part of all. I really look forward to the day Tether is flipped. Because Tether, they have been biting the hand that feeds them. Tether talks so much shit about Ethereum. It makes you vomit. You literally are billionaires because of Ethereum. The only reason you have a freaking business in the first place is because Ethereum created smart contract capability on the blockchain. Bitcoin has none of that. They kicked Vitalik out. They kicked everybody out who wants to add features to Bitcoin. You'd have no business. And by the way, friends, do you know Tether did deploy on Bitcoin on that shitty Omni chain? And guess what? No one used it. It literally had about 2 transactions a week. It was like literally no one used it. And then they're like, oh, I know, let's go to Ethereum. Yeah, but that's what happens, right? Because there's so many cuckolds, they've made so much money. Now they're like, have this holier than thou approach. They're like, ha ha ha. The crypto, Bitcoin is not the crypto. That's what Powell does. And every time we play Powell, we've got to play some Super Mario music. The crypto. I like the crypto. He always says that, friends. It goes Bitcoin Maxi Conference. Bitcoin is not the crypto. Bitcoin is a special. The crypto is a poop. Every single time. All right, bro. We get it. That's why I'm looking forward to a bit of liquidity siphoning from Tether. Friends, people still don't believe it, bro. You literally earn 0 yield. What kind of cuckold are you? You are holding a dog shit, useless $1 stablecoin that can't pump, and you get no yield for it. Like, you get slapped in the face twice, right? Like, why would you do that to yourself? Right? But I'll tell you why you do it to yourself. Because you don't know that there's a better way. Like, that guy in the hotel Cuck-Chair, he doesn't know there's a better way to live his life. He doesn't know that his missus doesn't have to get railed by 7 dudes on camera. He doesn't know a life beyond that. But what if he was able to see someone maybe out in the park drinking orange juice with his lovely lady, feeding the birds? He's like, wow, I don't see 7 dudes all around her. Yes, see what I mean, man? So if you're even a hotel Cuck-Chair holding your Tether USDC, earning 0 yield, maybe one day you'll see a better life. Executive Director Bo Hines tells the Mara CEO the crypto industry could hit 15 to 20 trillion once the stablecoin legislation is passed. Beautiful. We would love 10 trillion because that's plenty for everyone. That's beautiful to see. I've just scrolled down. First comment by Bernie. I just bought pDAI and I've never been more afraid in my life. Well, sir, look, all I can tell you is if you buy something and you're shit scared, whenever that happens to me, it's usually good. It's actually mostly good, okay? This is you on average, right? When you're buying something feeling, this thing's definitely going up and nothing can go wrong. Watch out, bro. It's about to get bad. You know what I mean? That's usually it. Okay, so if you're feeling shit scared, what's actually helping you? What's happening is, see, forget this log chart. Let's put on linear chart. Okay. Bro, how are you scared? I just want to know, bro, what the fuck are you scared about, bro? You're literally buying down here, bro. What the hell? Bro, you're scared about... That's fine, dude. Like, well, okay, it can go to 0 for a third time, okay? But just, you're buying down here, bro. What are you scared about? I know what you're scared about. It's because humans, right? When we buy, we want everyone to say, what a great idea. It's amazing. And then the green candle has to be there and everyone has to basically comfort you and stuff out here. But right now, all you're seeing is, you're seeing the peg nipple guy yell about how we recovered 1,900% precisely from the moment everyone says it was dead. And you're only seeing me celebrate. And you're seeing complete silence from 95% of the other Pulse Chain KOLs and everyone out there. Yeah, because they're unallocated and they sold. That's why. You know, so trust me, if they were along with you, they'd just be saying, oh, it's amazing. So what's the difference? The difference is just that, you know, like all it takes is there are like, you can name like 10 people, just 10 people, you know, out of the 100,000 of us, just 10 people with a microphone. If they just own, say, you know, if they own some pDAI in their wallet, enough to make a difference for them, they'd just be saying how good it is and then you'd feel good, right? But you got to think about it. Out of 100,000 people, if just 10 with microphones, not fluffy, other microphones, yeah. If just 10 of those 100,000, 0.01%, if they own your coin, they'd just be talking about it and everything would change. But has anything fundamentally changed? No. Does that change the price action? The fact that pDAI went to 0 twice and recovered? No. Does that change the fact that pDAI was the first logo on the PulseX website? No. You see what I mean? So all it takes is a few people's voices to basically be the megaphone to make you feel better, right? So once you start thinking about it like that, obviously I've given you like a 4D perspective of this, right? I hope you've blown your mind a bit. Then you understand, you know, you're trying to understand yourself here, right? But like I said, so it's, you're scared. I mean, like, here's the thing, bro. Like, just, it's a lottery ticket. You know what I mean? Oh, if it goes to 0, it goes to 0. But if it works, you get a 200x, dude. Like, I just told you, like, Bitcoin, friends, Bitcoin maxis are going to get wet over a 2x from here. Yeah. 2x. So, you know, more risk, more reward. Where to from here? Hopefully, joyful July continues. Bitcoin above 110,000. I guess we'll see what happens at next leg. Like, subscribe, belly button all. Catch you soon.